Good morning, everyone. Okay. See, yesterday regarding SCM, we started our chapters discussion and whatever the topics we have in chapter 6. Now, today we are going to start with some basic concepts, what you learned in your cmainter level, cost accounting, starting with small definitions. So, we'll start with objectives of cost accounting. Just name the objectives of cost accounting we know. So, what are the objectives of cost accounting? Objectives of cost accounting. Sir, cost. Okay. Is it only one word, cost control, cost reduction? Okay. Objectives of cost accounting. First one, ascertainment of cost. Our costing is more about manufacturing industries, right? Right? So what you are going to do in manufacturing industry or factory? We are going to manufacture the product, right? So after manufacturing, in order to make a decision or in order to determine the selling price, first you need to ascertain the cost. Ascertaining is nothing but finding out the cost, right? So whatever the product we are manufacturing, we will try to find out the cost of that product. So for finding out, we are using the term ascertainment of cost. So each product or service, because costing majority case we'll discuss about manufacturing industries. At the same time, we'll ascertain cost for service industries also, right? So we have a chapter called operating costing also, right? So where you have different kind of services, right? So traveling, right? Tell me, what are the other services we have? Hotels, hospitals, education institutions, everything is a service. Even for service industry, we are going to ascertain the cost. So ascertainment of cost for each product or service. And coming to the second one, after ascertainment of cost, you got the cost for each product or service. Next, what you are going to do? Directly selling price. So cost, how you are going to jump to selling price directly? First you should ascertain the profit what you want to make on that product, right? Ascertainment of profit from each activity. So again, activity means activity means activity means manufacturing or rendering of service, right? So either it is in factory or in case of service industry, in both the cases we'll try to ascertain the cost first. After that, we'll try to add the required profit margin. So how much profit you want to earn? So the profit which you want to add to your cost, or you want to determine on your price sometimes, right? So you want to earn a profit of 15% on sales, right? 10% on offer price, right? So either you may calculate on cost or on selling price, right? So you are going to ascertain profit. Now after ascertainment of cost, after ascertaining profit, what is our third objective then? Determination of selling price. Selling price is fine. Just try to observe the language. Ascertainment in first two cases. After ascertaining, you know both the numbers, right? You know cost, you know profit. Then what is our third one? Don't say ascertainment of selling price. Here you have to say determination of selling price, right? Determination of selling price. Again for each product or service. After that, fourth one, cost control and Don't know why you people are separating cost control and cost reduction. Jointly, it is a single objective, right? Right? Cost control and cost reduction. And finally, what is our last objective? Assist management in decision making. Assist management in decision making. See, by the way, what are the 5 points we have written, like ascertainment of cost, profit, selling price, cost control, cost reduction, and assist management in decision making. What are these 5? Objectives means why we are learning this subject. What is the motive? What is the objective behind this cost accounting? See, only because of this costing subject. If I gave you some information regarding a factory, gave you all kind of expenses, variable expenses, fixed, semi-variable, some additional expenses, some sunk cost, and everything. And if I ask you to find out the minimum price to be quoted for a customer, so when you are making a statement, maybe cost statement for the sake of decision making to find out that quotation, you are going to consider few numbers. You are going to consider few numbers multiplied with production. Few numbers irrespective of production, you are considering some fixed cost. So where you got that idea? Fixed cost is to be taken in full. I cannot multiply with the quantity. Only variable cost is to be multiplied with the quantity, right? And you are ignoring some numbers for decision making. For calculating break-even point, you are trying to equate your contribution to fixed cost. You are comparing whether my contribution is sufficient to recover fixed cost or not. If it is exactly equal to my fixed cost, then at that point I'm going to issue break-even point, where you are getting this knowledge through this cost accounting subject. Am I correct or not? For cost control and cost reduction, for making some value chain analysis, or in order to guide the management, you are saying this product is to be discontinued. It is not working for the organization, right? Say for suppose if your cost itself is, if your additional cost itself is some 20 rupees, if the customer is asking for 18 rupees, why you are ignoring? What is the reason? Because my additional cost or my incremental cost from my pocket itself is 20 rupees. You are asking for 18, right? So you arrive at that 20 rupees with the help of this cost accounting subject. And you are going to make all these calculations, put before the management, and you are going to guide the management stating that this one has to be accepted, this one has to be rejected, this won't work now. Am I correct or not? So that is the main motive from this cost accounting subject. Is it clear? All right. Now after completion of these objectives of cost accounting, next, see, based on different criteria, we are going to use different terms of cost in our entire costing subject. Say for suppose, based on time, costs are classified into current costs, historical costs, predetermined costs. Right. Now tell me, what do you mean by this current cost? Current cost means cost incurred in the current period because of taking a particular decision. You are having this outflow from your pocket in the current period. Means this decision, this current cost is incurred only because of selecting that option. If you are not selecting that option, you will not incur this cost in the current period. And this is the out of pocket expenses if you make that decision. If I'm going to ignore that decision, I'm not going to have this from my pocket. Clear? This is the out of pocket expenses. Clear? I told you yesterday, like expenses which is incurred in the past is irrelevant for today's decision making, right? When you are incurring an expense in the current period today, obviously it is relevant for decision making, right? So now can I say this is relevant for decision making, right? If I am going to say why it is relevant for decision making means you have to tell me the reason, right? What is the reason? Out of pocket expenses. Out of pocket expenses. If I'm going to accept the decision, this is the outflow from my pocket. So this is out of pocket expenses. Expenses or costs, both are fine. Clear? Next. Now coming to historical cost. Now historical cost is also known as sunk cost. And is it relevant for decision making or irrelevant for decision making? You please participate, discuss. Along with that, you please slowly start writing. So historical cost, this is past cost, right? Already incurred, right? So is it relevant for decision making or irrelevant for decision making? This is irrelevant for decision making, right? Now I'm going to ask you just like previous one. Now why it is irrelevant for decision making? Okay, already incurred is it, you have to tell me the title. Sunk cost. I'm going to ask you what is the definition of sunk cost, then you can say these are the past expenses which are already incurred by the company. What is the title? Sunk cost. Clear? Here, did I write the meaning of out-of-pocket expenses? I told you the title. Clear? In the same way, here you have to tell me historical cost is irrelevant for decision making because those are sunk cost. Is it clear? Next. Predetermined cost. Predetermined cost. Now, is it relevant or irrelevant for decision making? By the way, predetermined cost means predetermined costs are nothing but our budgeted costs. Predetermined costs are nothing but our budgeted cost. And predetermined costs are relevant or irrelevant for decision making? Relevant or irrelevant? Relevant. Why it is relevant for decision making? Sir, if you purchase this machinery, next coming 3 years, you are going to incur 2 lakh rupees as operational expenses next 3 years. Means first year after purchasing this machinery today, you are going to incur 2 lakhs in the first year, 2 lakhs in the second year, 2 lakhs in the third year. So these are future expenses, no doubt in that. But if you purchase the machine, then only you are going to incur those expenses. Means those numbers are linked to your decision of purchasing the machine, right? Now can I say if you are not purchasing the machine, then I can ignore or I can avoid those expenses of 2 lakhs, right? Right? Now can I say that number is reacting to my decision? That number is relevant to my decision, right? Only the expenses which is already incurred is only irrelevant. Whether it is incurred today, whether it is going to be incurred in future because of this decision, all numbers are relevant. Clear? Now if you ask me relevant, why it is relevant for decision making means this is going to be the outflow in the future. This is going to be the outflow in the future. So now this is the out of pocket expenses in future. Is it clear? Now look at these three. Current cost is nothing but present cost, historical is nothing but past, and predetermined is nothing but future. You can see present, past, future based on time or based on period. Anything is same. Based on time or based on period. Is it clear? Right. Any doubts? Can I proceed, sir? After based on time. Next. Based on element. Based on element. Costs are classified into costs are classified into sir. Good. Material, labor, or its material, labor, or its. I think in our cmainter group 1, the chapter title is elements of cost, where you have material, labor, overhead. Material, labor, overhead. So, you know cost structure, right? Cost structure. You know capital structure. Please see. If I am going to say, sir, I used to manufacture marker, and cost for one marker, it comes to 20 rupees. 20 rupees. Now, if I am going to ask you the bifurcation or segregation of that 20 rupees, how you arrived at that 20 rupees, then you are going to show me the details of that 20 rupees marker. So, always cost structure will be prepared for, cost structure you can show for one unit, like I will say material, it is 10 rupees, labor 5 rupees, variable overhead 3 rupees, fixed overhead 2 rupees, put together 20 rupees. Now this is my total cost. This is my total cost, and here in this total cost of 20 rupees, you can see elements. Elements are nothing but components. So in this 20 rupees, I have component of material, I have component of labor, and forget about the variable and fixed, put together both are overheads, right? Right? So I can say these are the elements of cost. These are the elements. Clear? Material, labor, overhead. In my total cost, these are the components. You should know the language terminology first. Is it clear? Without knowing the terminology, passing of cmainter is fine. But remember, you should know what is cost structure at least. Am I correct or not? At the same time, I ask you what is capital structure, right? Right? Tell me what is capital structure. Same logic. XYZ Limited raised 1 crore capital. If I am going to ask you the bifurcation of that 1 crore, bifurcation, I don't want to say use the word bifurcation, it's nothing but the different type of sources from where you have raised that 1 crore amount. I'm going to say equity share capital 50 lakh rupees, 12% preference share capital some 30 lakh rupees, 10% debentures 20 lakh rupees. So for this 1 crore, you are showing the capital structure, right? Sir, in our cost of capital chapter, WACC model, every question starts with the capital structure of Progressive Company Limited. First line. Oh, then what you are reading, right, in that question, right? So whatever the information they gave you, like capital, preference shares, debentures, 18% term loan, nothing but capital structure, right? So this is the cost structure. Maybe in costing, they may not give like this is the cost structure of so on. So they may give you like paragraphs. Only in few questions they may give you the cost structure, but you should understand this is what cost structure means. These are the elements of cost. Clear? Just small basic things. Clear? So material, labor, overheads. So this is the cost structure. This is how we are going to understand. Can I proceed? Next, after, you want to copy? I want everyone to copy. I want everyone to copy, even my previous students, even though they have the same kind of notes, but still, right? Let us try to run the class in a uniform way. Everyone has to write. Can I proceed? Sir, after element, next, based on nature or behavior, costs are classified into everyone has to answer this question. Based on nature or behavior, costs are classified into, okay, fixed variable, okay, variable cost, fixed cost, semi variable cost, right? Okay, tell me the definition of variable cost. Cost which varies or changes with respect to change in production. So if production changes, this cost is going to change. Means change means again increase or decrease. If production increases, variable cost. If production decreases, variable cost. If production remains same, variable cost. So this is reacting to your production, right? Always remember, for your entire costing, variable cost is the cost which is going to change to your production. Clear? Right. Examples of variable cost, sir. Tell me. Correct. Material, labor, variable overhead. Fine, fine. Clear? Now, moving to fixed cost or else. Let us continue with the variable cost only. Now, answer to this one. You all know now fixed cost. Definition of fixed cost, please. Sir, this is what the same definition I am going to hear every time. People will say fixed, fixed. What is that fixed? So the same definition of variable cost, you have to say, irrespective of changes in production, this cost is going to remain the same. So fixed cost is the cost which remains same or fixed irrespective of changes in production. Irrespective of changes in production. So examples. Enough. Want me to write? I can write salary. Clear? Okay. Now, always the definition of variable cost, fixed, semi-variable cost link only to production activity. I am saying fixed cost will remain same irrespective of changes in production. That doesn't mean fixed cost will remain same if something happens in the market, still it will remain same. Did I say like that? You have some inflation in the market, cost will remain same. Your owner wants to increase the rent by 10% from next year onwards. Does it related to your production activity? Clear? I'm saying whatever the rent committed to you, it will remain same. Whether you are producing more output or less output, it is not going to change. This is what I want to say as definition of fixed cost. Am I correct or not? It's because of inflation in the market. Some price may increase. Nothing to do with our production activity. Don't say, sir, you told fixed cost will remain same, here it is changing. Clear? Right. Next, coming to semi-variable cost. What is semi-variable cost? It is a combination of both variable cost and fixed cost, and this cost will remain same or fixed up to certain extent of production. Beyond that extent or beyond that level of production, this cost will start to increase. Means I can say up to 10,000 units. My cost up to 10,000 units cost 50,000. Beyond 10,000, for every additional 1,000 units, cost will increase by 2,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees. The point is very clear. Beyond 10,000 units, for every additional 1,000 units of increase, cost will increase by 2,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees. Now, if your unit is some 12,000 units, for this 12,000 units, please tell me cost. Cost is equal to 50,000 for the 10,000 units. After 10,000 units, you have 2,000 increase. For every 1,000 increase, 2,000 rupees is the increase in cost. For 2,000 units, 2,000 into 2, so 4,000, right? Now, going back to the same point, up to 10,000 units means, say for suppose, you produce only 8,000 units. If you produce only 8,000 units, then if you produce 9,500, means up to 10,000 units, it remains same, right? Beyond 10,000 units only it is changing, right? So we have both fixed as well as variable in this, right? So this is what I want to show it as semi-variable cost. Any doubts? Right. And one more thing, for calculating semi-variable cost, you know this equation. Total cost equal to variable cost plus fixed cost. N variable cost means, can I write like variable cost per unit into N plus fixed cost. Right? Variable cost per unit into N plus fixed cost. I told you semi-variable means it is a combination of both variable and fixed. When you have both variable and fixed in a single cost information, how you are going to segregate or separate that variable and fixed? And variable cost per unit, for calculating this, we have a formula. What is that? Change in change in total cost divided by change in production. Clear? Or change in output, change in units produced, right? So change in cost divided by change in production or change in output. Clear? Once after finding out variable cost per unit, then I'm going to find out fixed cost. We have that equation in the bracket, I mean box, right? So from that, if you want fixed cost, can I say fixed cost equal to total cost minus variable cost? Total cost minus variable cost, right? Just simply interchanging the equation, right? Okay. So first you can find out variable cost per unit using this equation, using this formula, change in total cost divided by change in quantity produced. After that, substituting in that equation of if you want fixed cost equal to total cost minus variable cost. Any doubts? Can I proceed? You are listening and again you are writing. Will have double impact. Try to follow. Yeah, cmainter is easy, but coming to CMA final, you need to put a lot of effort. Clear? And if you don't have basics also, as I promised, I am going to cover each and everything. If some point exists at the time of solving the problem, I am going to explain there itself. So don't worry, but I need some positive vibes. I need some kind of attention from you. Clear? Please. Now, after calculating this fixed cost and all, and I have some important points to be remembered by the students. These are very important for understanding the subject. You know, after completion of this variable, fixed, semi-variable also, I am going to explain few more cost concepts, quarterly put together some 25 or 30, whatever it may be. But remember, in our entire costing, variable, fixed, semi-variable, understanding of variable, fixed, semi-variable is going to help you in decision making especially. Clear? Majority of the students don't know how to handle variable cost. Saying the definition of variable cost is not understanding the subject. Is it clear? When you are seeing a particular cost, you should understand this is variable and you should apply that logic. Am I correct or not? Sir, this is what we applied in our budgetary control chapter, sir. When you are preparing that flexible budget, few times you are writing in per unit column, multiply with units, you are writing in total column. And few expenses you are writing in total column, dividing with units, and you are calculating per unit calculation. Right? Right? So, why we are writing in such a way? Please see. Variable cost per unit remains same. Variable cost in total will change. Variable cost in total will change. Next, fixed cost in total remains fixed cost per unit will change, right? Can I proceed? Right. Now variable cost per unit remains the same. I think previously when we were discussing about variable cost, you are saying variable cost is the cost which it changes, right? So now I'm saying it remains same, right? Why? See, I mean to say variable cost per unit remains same, when output is changing, you will multiply with the production quantity, the total will change. The definition of variable cost is changing because of change in production. Total variable cost will change, not per unit. Per unit, it will always remains same. My material cost is always 10 rupees only. If my production is 10,000, 10 into 10,000. If my production is 5,000, 10 into 5,000. Is it clear? This 10 remains same. Only 1,50,000 is changing, right? Right? So the total is changing, but per unit 10 remains the same. Is it clear? So per unit remains same, variable cost in total will change. Now coming to fixed cost, it will be quite opposite. Fixed cost per unit will change. Why it is changing? Because fixed cost in total remains same. My rent is 50,000 rupees. My rent is 50,000 rupees, and in that factory I am producing 10,000 units. Now what is fixed cost per unit? 50,000 divided by 10,000. 5 rupees. Say for suppose if in the same factory, because of off season, I am producing only 50% of my previous production, means 5,000 units. Now again you want to calculate per unit. So 50,000 divided by 5,000 units this time. Then 10 rupees, right? Now you are saying our fixed cost is changing. Fixed cost per unit is changing. People will try to use this for the sake of decision making. They will try to use this 5 rupees and 10 rupees. Don't use fixed cost per unit information for decision making. Fixed cost total only it has to be considered. If the total is changing, please consider for decision making. Clear? Don't get deviated with the per unit changes in fixed cost. If output changes, when denominator is changing, that per unit calculation will change, sir. Clear? So fixed cost in total remains same, fixed cost per unit will change. These 4 points are very important. Clear? Can I proceed? Okay, everyone, writing. Next, after based on nature or behavior, based on relationship. Costs are classified into direct costs and indirect costs. Direct costs and indirect costs. Tell me, what are direct costs? What are direct costs? Directly incurred to the product. Sir? I have to say something. Product cost. Suitable product cost. Please try to use that word traceable. Clear? Attributable is fine, but you have to use it for product cost. Okay. See, expenses which can be directly traceable to manufacturing of a product, those expenses are directly linked to manufacturing of a product. Those expenses are direct expenses. In order to manufacture a marker, the plastic what we are using in that marker is direct material which is directly visible in that marker, right? And the number of labor hours involved in manufacturing or completing that marker, and for that whatever the payment you are making, it is direct labor. And for the same marker, to produce that marker, to produce that particular marker, which is not our idea. Actually, it is some Delhi based company. So it is their idea. We want to use that idea in our own place, in our own factory. So we need to pay something as patent to so and so company and get your NOC, no objection certificate, for manufacturing in your factory. So without making that payment, you cannot start your manufacturing. So payment of that patent is directly linked to production. If you are not going to make the payment, you cannot start the production. Those expenses are direct expenses, royalty, patent. Clear? Now, these expenses are traceable. These expenses are traceable to manufacturing of a product. See, this classroom is a factory and I am manufacturing this marker, and forget about all the machine, rent, electricity, staff and everything. Only the expenses relating to this marker, which I can see in this marker, is direct expenses. Once after this marker manufacturing is over, now if I step down and whatever the amount I have invested within the factory, I'm not going out of the factory. If I am going out of the factory, again it comes under different heads, administration and all. Clear? That is the reason, even though the expenses incurred inside the factory like rent or some other wages which are indirect, or some other electricity, power, everything comes under indirect expenses. Is it clear? Now this direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, all these three put together, we'll call them as prime cost. Now indirect cost. In case of material only, you will have some indirect material. So we are using the material but not for production. Maybe for the sake of maintenance inside the factory, you are using few kgs of material, but not for production, for the sake of maintaining. Clear? Indirect material. Indirect material and wages paid to workers, not for production, but we are using those workers for the sake of, in case of weekend, normally in a factory, we'll work for 5 days in a week, 8 hours per day. Maybe on Saturdays or Sundays, some other days, we are asking few workers to work and do some other additional, to give some support in some additional repairing work. We are paying wages, but those wages are not related to production. Clear? So those wages comes under indirect labor. And again, all other expenses, indirect expenses. Now all indirects are known as, how to answer, overheads. Is it clear? So all directs are prime cost, all indirects are overheads. Can you proceed? Next. Based on normality, expenses are classified into normal cost and abnormal cost. Normal cost and abnormal cost. What are normal costs? You have to write fast and try to answer. It's not about copying of notes. If you really don't want to participate, I'm not going to help you. Clear? You have to say something. Handwriting is not important. Use only one pen. Forget about using markers, highlighters, red color pens and everything. Use only one pen, calculator, material, notes. That's all. Clear? You have to answer me. So normal cost. Define normal cost, which are incurred in our normal course of business, in our day-to-day manufacturing, whatever the expenses we are going to incur, like material in everyday manufacturing we are going to incur, the payments what you are going to make on our day-to-day operations, making payment of wages, expenses, water bill, electricity, all these are normal, right? Right? Which are quite common in your day-to-day operations of a business. Those are normal expenses. Now coming to the abnormal part. Some fire, some fire accident happened inside the factory. It's because of some strike happened. You are paying some additional, you are incurring some additional expenses inside the factory because of those abnormal situations, right? So those are not going to happen on our day-to-day basis. So those are incurred only because of that abnormal scenario, right? So those expenses are known as abnormal expenses. And what is the treatment of abnormal expenses? Treatment of abnormal expenses. Really? Remember, single line. Whenever you come across a term called abnormal, always the treatment is charged to costing P&L account. Charged to costing P&L account. See, our objective, first objective is ascertainment of cost, right? How you are going to ascertain cost? How you are going to ascertain cost? How? By preparing cost sheet. Do you know why we prepare cost sheet? You will write, you will capture each and every expense related to manufacturing, right? Material, labor, expenses, overheads, everything put together till cost of sales. And finally, you will try to arrive at cost of 1 unit is 20 rupees, right? So for that, you are preparing cost sheet, right? If it is a full-fledged manufacturing unit. If it is service industry, but still, you will write in the same order. Maybe you don't have like opening WAP, closing WAP. You don't have opening stock of finished goods, closing stock of finished goods because it is service industry. Or else in few cases, in case of some job costing, expenses related to the job, you are going to write in an order, you will make a total. This is the total cost incurred for the job. And you want to add 15% profit on that cost and you want to quote the price to your customer. Maybe in case of job costing, you will call it a job cost sheet. Am I correct or not? When you want to find out the cost, you will write each and everything and you will make a total. That is nothing but cost sheet, cost statement to ascertain the cost, right? Am I correct or not? Okay. Now, if something happens because of negligence of some employee, organization incurring some additional expense. Organization is incurring some additional expense. If I am going to add that expense in my cost sheet, in my cost of production, and it will increase my total cost of sales. Previously, my cost per unit is 20 rupees. Now it's because of adding this additional item. I mean this abnormal item because of negligence of some employee, some additional expense of 2 lakh rupees incurred. If I'm adding, the same 20 rupees may increase to 21 rupee. 1 rupee increase only because of that particular employee. When it seems to be like 2 lakh rupee or 3 lakh rupee, it seems to be huge. When I'm including in cost of production, it seems to be only increase of 1 rupee. Am I correct or not? And you are going to add profit margin to this 21 rupee and you are going to pass on this mistake to your customer. Am I correct or not? Now, this is going to be, this won't go to the notice of the top level management. It go unnoticed, right? Right? No one knows why price increase from 20 to 21? They might think like there may be some increase in material cost, there may be some increase in wages portion or overhead portion. So that is the reason it became 20 to 21, right? If you are going to leave your employee like this, next time he is going to repeat the same and it is going to increase quite frequently, right? So that is the reason I want this to take to the notice of management, and I will show it as a separate item charging to costing P&L account. Charging to costing P&L account. Now, when management, when they are checking that financial statements, when they are going through this P&L account, they will observe this abnormal scenario part, and they will dig into the reasons, and they will issue a show cause notice that to a particular employee, and they can take an action on that particular employee so that it won't get repeat in the future. Is it clear? If you are going to include in cost of production, what will happen? This is all about treatment, right? Or if you are going to include in cost of production, cost of sales and everything, after that, tell me, in your P&L account, you will have buy sales, maybe some 5 lakhs, to cost of sales. You have included that abnormal item in your cost sheet. Now, this is like some 4,50,000. Now, profit 50,000 rupees. This is if you include in your cost sheet. Say for suppose, if you are not including in cost sheet, that abnormal item is 50,000 rupees. Let us assume. So, what you will do? I will write the same sales, 5 lakhs. If you are not including in cost of production, now cost of sales is only, and I asked you, if it is an abnormal item, charge to costing P&L account, right? Now I am going to mention like if it happens in some stores department, I will write like some stores adjustment within brackets. I am going to write Mr. A on so and so. I am going to write the details, and I am going to write the same 50,000. Now what is my GP? Does it changes? It is only for the sake of taking to the notice of management. Clear? I am going to take it to the notice of management, and at the time of making sale, I am going to determine my selling price, and I will compare with only with 4 lakhs. Is it clear? That is my real effort, right? Adding of some expense because of negligent of some employee and showing like it is actual reduction of profit is not right, correct? Right? Okay. So always whenever you come across this abnormal scenario, charge it to costing P&L account. When an expense is incurred in a normal course of business, you can include in cost of production. You can include in cost of production. Abnormal means charge it to costing P&L account. Clear? Can you proceed? We'll continue next slide. We'll continue the balance in next class. Thank you.